And we begin with breaking news coming from Greece's largest migrant camp on the island of Lesbos. It's been destroyed by a huge fire, leaving up to 13,000 people homeless. The camp is notoriously overcrowded, and there had been anger over strict quarantine procedures after dozens of people there tested positive for COVID-19. The cause of the fire is still not clear. Our correspondent Mark Lobel has the latest.
Helpless as their homes burn.
My house is finished. Asphalt, many, all finished.
Thousands of migrants in this crammed refugee camp of makeshift tents and shipping containers are being told to evacuate. Strong winds are hindering fire crews battling to contain the blaze. Local residents are now witnessing homeless asylum seekers with nowhere to turn, with reports many are being held on a highway.
These people, they don't have a place to stay tonight. It's about, here in front of me, it's about 1,000 people that they have everything, the belongings, and they are sitting on the street. If you go till Mytilene, you drive to Mytilene, it's 15 kilometers, and all the way you will see people walking with the luggage.
Tensions have been rising in recent days as residents objected to their proximity to dozens who've tested positive with coronavirus. The whole camp was under a strict quarantine. Authorities had promised to improve segregation conditions after a medical charity had warned of disastrous consequences after the forced closure of their relief centre there in July. It's not the first fire that's broken out at the camp. 8 agencies have repeatedly warned about the fragile situation. Today's fire will once again put the spotlight on this gateway to Europe for many of the world's migrants. Mark Lobel, BBC News.
Well, joining me now live from Lesbos is Caroline Willmann, who is a COVID-19 field coordinator on the island for Médecins Sans Frontières. Caroline, thank you for being on the programme. What more can you tell us about what's happened at this camp?
So indeed, there have been major fires, seemingly with different sources throughout the camp since last night. So it has been burning all night. And as your colleague was indeed rightly saying, there are now 13,000 people on the street with whatever belongings they could take, unable to go back to Moria, unable to move towards Mytilene, which is the bigger town on the island.
And do we know anything about what the authorities might do about this, the fact that these 13,000 people are homeless?
This will be the big question for today. It is absolutely unclear at this very moment what will happen. We are obviously very worried. Keep in mind that 40% of the people who live in Moria are children. Those are the people who are now on the streets. There are also 200 people at high risk for COVID who are on the streets, either because of their age or because of underlying comorbidities. So it's a very explosive situation.
And do we know how these fires have started? Obviously, it's all speculation at the moment, but what are your thoughts on that?
So indeed, it's very soon to say. Most information at the moment points towards the fact that it was residents of the camp who put the fire on. Keep in mind that it's 5 years that this camp has been kept in completely inhumane conditions. So I believe that what we're seeing now is the very sad, but also the very predictable outcome of these inhumane and deplorable migration policies. People have been living for years in absolutely unacceptable housing conditions with no access to basic services. Stress has increased enormously in the last 6 months because of the strict movement restrictions related to COVID, even months before COVID actually arrived in the camp or on the island. And then indeed with the confirmation of the first COVID cases this week, when there was then immediately a complete mass quarantine of the camp that was installed, this has raised tensions even further. And it seems, unfortunately, that some people have just reached their limits and have gone beyond their limits to look for a way to stop the situation that they live in.
And from your perspective at MSF, who needs to step up and take more responsibility here for these people?
I mean, as always, and as we have been saying for the last 5 years, this is a Greek and a European responsibility. These people try to reach Europe, not only Greece. And at this very moment, both Greek and European authorities need to step up to find as soon as possible a safe solution for these people.
And are aid workers such as yourself able to get to these people today and in the next few days? It's critical, isn't it, that people help these?
Exactly. So this is what we will see in the next few hours. So obviously the road has been blocked recently, but we will find out very soon if we can reach them and what we can do.
All right, Caroline, we appreciate you speaking to us this morning. Caroline Willmann, and there is a lot more detail on our website as well about what's happening at Moria, that camp in Lesbos. More on our top story. A large migrant camp on the Greek island of Lesbos is being evacuated because of the fires that we just mentioned that broke out in the early hours of this morning. Images on social media showed flames inside and outside the centre. Well, Dimitris Volgarakis lives close to the camp. He talked to me through the scenes at Moria a short time ago.
Now with the first light, I can see that there is a few tents that make it, and they are okay, but the rest of the camp, as I can see from this distance, is burnt out. It's a supermarket that is next to it have still smoke. There is behind the hill smoke coming. There are still firefighters trying to make the fire off. It's ongoing, but not like last night. Last night it was really hell night.
Yeah, we're looking now at pictures of the fire probably at its peak overnight. So you're saying as light starts to come into view this morning, it's under more control. Is that your perspective on what's happening from where you are?
Last night it was very difficult to approach. It was full of smoke, and the firefighters were coming and going. All the night cars, firefighters cars, and now a helicopter is coming with water.
Can I ask you, Thanasis, if you're concerned about what this means for the migrants who have been in this camp? You know, nearly 13,000, it's extremely overcrowded. What provision there is for them? You live close to the camp, don't you? What's your concerns?
These people, they don't have a place to stay tonight. It's about, here in front of me, it's about 1,000 people that they have everything, the belongings, and they're sitting on the street. If you go till Mytilene, you drive to Mytilene, it's 15 kilometers, and all the way you will see people walking with the luggage. So these people, they have no place for tonight and for the next days for sure.
So that is a local resident who lives close to Moria, the camp that we heard earlier has been almost completely destroyed by fires earlier today. That's Dimitris Volgarakis, who I spoke to earlier.